Hello and welcome to Nightline. I'm Brandon Wong. The headlines. Singapore stands no chance to win water deal, dispute at World Court. And Rajapetra's allegations, ridiculous lies, says Lim Guan Eng. Good morning. Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad on Sunday stressed that Singapore will lose its case over the raw water deal dispute with Malaysia if it is brought to the International Court of Arbitration. The Prime Minister added as such, the Republic has been reluctant to do so, realising that it stands little or no chance to succeed. Speaking at a media conference after launching the 2019 National Landscape Day at the Botany Garden in Putrajaya, Tun Dr. Mahathir said despite that fact, both countries have agreed to continue negotiations on the water issue.
They don't want to go to the World Court because if they go to the World Court, they will lose. So they don't want to go to the World Court because to go to the World Court, you must have agreement from both parties.
Last week, the Prime Minister urged the Johor government to be more vocal about the issues they are facing, specifically in relation to the ridiculously cheap price Singapore is paying for raw water. The water agreement, which expires in 2061, entitles Singapore to draw up to 250 million gallons a day of raw water from the Johor River. In return, Johor is entitled to a daily supply of treated water of up to 2% of the water supplied to Singapore. Singapore pays 3 cents per 1,000 gallons of raw water and sells treated water back to Johor at 50 cents per 1,000 litres. Meanwhile, the government has paid 200 million ringgit in interest to the main contractor of the East Coast Rail Link, ECRL. The Prime Minister said the interest payment was for the 55 billion ringgit loan to China Communications Construction Company, CCCC.
Duit yang kita ada, yang sepatutnya kita guna untuk rakyat, terpaksa diguna untuk bayar hutang. Baru ini kita bayar cuma faedah saja. 200 million ringgit. Tiap-tiap 6 bulan nak kena bayar 200 million ringgit kerana Datuk Seri Najib hutang sehingga 55 bilion ringgit. Daripada 55 bilion ringgit, dia turun 20 bilion ringgit. Tinggal 35 bilion ringgit saja. Bermakna bahawa dia boleh buat dengan harga 35 bilion. Tapi kenapa kontrak ni sampai 55 bilion? Mungkin kerana nak curi duit lah tu.
Work on the 688-kilometre railway line linking the east and west coasts of Peninsular Malaysia was suspended last July as part of the new Pakatan Harapan administration's review of mega projects undertaken by the previous government. Tun Dr. Mahathir previously said that the project could resume on a smaller scale if China agrees to the move. Both countries are still in talks and have yet to find an amicable solution on the matter. Pakatan Harapan PH will conduct a post-mortem to identify the factors that led to the coalition's defeat in the just-concluded Semenyih by-election. Tun Dr. Mahathir, who is also PH chairman, said UMNO's partnership with PAS may have contributed to Barisan Nasional BN's victory in the polls. The Prime Minister, however, said that Pakatan was not worried with the cooperation between UMNO and PAS, as he was confident the cooperation would only happen during by-elections, where the victory would not bring much meaning.
Ya, mereka boleh kerjasama dalam pilihan raya kecil. Kerana menang kalah tak penting. Tapi dalam pilihan raya umum, dia tak boleh kerjasama. Kalau dia kerjasama, PAS tak ada apa-apa.
He added another factor that may have led to PH defeat was the sentiment that the coalition could not fulfill its promises within a reasonable time frame. BN emerged victorious in the Semenyih by-election, its second victory against the ruling Pakatan Harapan coalition since losing power last year. Its candidate, Zakaria Hanafi, won with a 1,914 vote majority, clinching 19,780 votes. He beat PH Muhammad Aiman Zainali, who secured 17,866 votes, and two others, PSM's Nick Aziz Afiq Abdul and independent candidate Kwan Chi Hong, who only garnered 847 and 725 votes, respectively. At the event, Tun Dr. Mahathir also handed out several awards in the forms of grants to communities, developers and local authorities which successfully planned and implemented comprehensive landscape management projects. Kuala Lumpur City Hall received the main award under the Garden Nation initiative involving a 1 million ringgit grant, while the Putrajaya Corporation and the Iskandar Putri City Council each received grants of 500,000 and 300,000 ringgit respectively. The National Landscape Day was initiated in 1998 on every March the 3rd, aiming at mobilizing a culture of love for landscape among the people in line with the National Landscape Policy.
Kalau kita menanam pokok di tepi jalan, saya harap kita tanam satu jenis saja di kiri dan kanan jalan dengan jarak yang tetap sama sepanjang jalan. Dan ini memberi gambaran yang elok bagi jalan itu. Di masa yang sama kita boleh selang-seli dengan pokok-pokok bunga yang sama jenisnya, supaya apabila kita lalu di jalan-jalan ini, maka kita akan dapati keadaan sekeliling amat menarik dan cantik.
Still on the Semenyih by-election, BN's victory in the poll on Saturday was the people's choice. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng, who is also DAP's Secretary-General, said all parties must openly accept the outcome and place their focus on BN to see whether it can fulfill its promises in the constituency or not.
Menerima keputusan daripada rakyat, memang ini adalah hak dan suara rakyat, dan ekspektasinya ialah BN dilihat macam mana mereka hendak menunaikan janji mereka. So ekspektasi ialah mereka akan menunaikan janji-janji dan kenyataan yang dibuat dalam pilihan raya kecil. Untuk Pakatan Harapan, kita akan terus berusaha untuk menyatu padukan rakyat.
Lim said this after officiating the I Love Penang run in Georgetown, Pulau Pinang earlier on Sunday. Meanwhile, Lim has dismissed allegations by a blogger that he was involved in a corruption scandal involving Pulau Pinang's undersea tunnel and road projects. He stressed that the state government conducts open tender for its projects. As such, the issue of corruption does not arise.
Satu penipuan yang diadakan untuk memburuk-burukkan bukan sahaja nama saya, 4 ahli exco yang lain. Pada masa itu ahli exco lah. Now CM really. Pada masa itu 4 orang ahli exco yang lain, dan juga kepada kerajaan negeri dan juga Pakatan Harapan. So memang ini sesuatu penipuan. Okey, dan saya rasa amat jelas. Bila Pulau Pinang amalkan sistem tender terbuka, kemungkinan seperti ini tidak berlaku.
Commenting on Raja Petra Kamarudin, who recently published several blog posts on the MACC investigation into the tunnel and roads project estimated to cost 6.3 billion ringgit. Lim and several state executive councillors were also implicated in the investigations. According to Lim, the previous Barisan Nasional Administration had also investigated the project and did not take any action. He added that Dr. Nasruddin Mat Isa had previously made a similar allegation, and the former past deputy president had to fork out 10,000 ringgit to settle the lawsuit on the matter. It is not easy for the new government to repair a 60-year system left behind by the previous government. According to Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail, for 60 years, Malaysia was administered by the Barisan Nasional Government, and after Pakatan Harapan took over, the country was burdened with huge debts.
Ada kelemahan, memang saya akui. Ada kelemahan. Tak ada perfect, tak ada. Saya akui, saya sendiri pun akui. Sebab kabinet semua baru. Yang tinggal Tun Dr. Mahathir je dengan Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin. Sikit dengan Lim Guan Eng dan Datuk Sri Azmin. Hak tu ada admin. Kat lain. Jadi ini saya hari ini kan, reporters ada, please report responsibly. I'm very frank. Saya bukan nak buatkan supaya berikan satu gambaran, excuses, defensive. No. We have to be realistic. Kita mesti tengok reality.
Speaking at an evening with the Deputy Prime Minister program in Pematang Pau on Sunday, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah said for 60 years there was no change in the government. And when the Pakatan Harapan took over, the government did not have enough funds. She added that the country will head towards bankruptcy if the government does not pay the debts. At a separate function, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah revealed that the National Welfare Foundation, YKN's Anjung Kasih, a temporary shelter project that began in 2006 for family members of patients undergoing treatment at government hospitals, has benefited 62,551 people. Speaking during the official launch of Anjung Kasih YKN at the Pulau Pinang Hospital in Georgetown, the Deputy Prime Minister said to date there are 10 YKN Anjung Kasih throughout the country, with 4 more to be operational this year at the Sultana Bahia Hospital in Alor, Sultana Amina Hospital in Johor Bahru, Duchess of Kent Hospital in Sandakan and the Malacca Hospital.
Kerajaan mengambil berat akan keperluan golongan yang memerlukan, khususnya kepada kelompok G40 ini. Sebagai kerajaan yang prihatin, kita berusaha meringankan beban rakyat. Kita tawarkan penginapan percuma supaya mereka dapat bersama-sama menemani pesakit semasa rawatan dijalankan. Secara tidak langsung, Anjung Kasih ini turut menjadi medium penyambung kasih di antara keluarga.
Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah, who is also YKN Board of Trustees Chairman, said the Anjung Kasih project is a proactive approach in the medico-social field to link aspects of medication and social service. With Anjung Kasih, the government is able to assist the people to save cost of accommodation, which could amount to between 100 and 200 ringgit per night. Besides the 6.9 million ringgit allocated from the government, the Anjung Kasih had also received 1.6 million ringgit in contributions from corporate social responsibility programs of government-linked companies, GLCs, the private sector and other caring contributors. The government is waiting for a fresh proposal from the US exploration firm Ocean Infinity or any other interested party before resuming the search for the ill-fated MH370. Transport Minister Anthony Loke Siu Fook said his ministry was more than willing to enter fresh discussions with Ocean Infinity, which embarked on a no-find, no-fee basis last year, but was ultimately unsuccessful.
If there are any credible leads and any specific proposal, especially from Ocean Infinity, we are more than willing to look at it, and we are prepared to discuss with them the new proposal. Of course, the approach of using no fee, no cure, if there's no fee, no result, then we can prepare to look at it.
He was speaking to the media at the 5th annual remembrance event for MH370, held at the Publica Shopping Gallery in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday. Loke added that the government cannot set funds aside for the search if there is no proposal. He also dismissed allegations by family members of passengers and crew members on board MH370 that the final report published by the government in July last year withheld key information about the missing plane. When we return, senior FGV official remanded over graft probe. Details next. Welcome back. Only 2% of primary school pupils nationwide have dropped out of schools this year. Deputy Education Minister Tioni Cheng said a majority of the dropouts are non-nationals, as well as those whose parents are mired in financial difficulties and do not see the importance of education.
Kita sekarang telah memudahkan proses untuk mendaftar, untuk pergi masuk ke sekolah kerajaan untuk golongan bukan warga negara. Maksudnya kalau mereka boleh tunjuk birth cert mereka, sijil kelahiran mereka ataupun perintah pengangkatan yang untuk tunjuk buktikan hubungan mereka dengan warga Malaysia, kita akan teruslah terima mereka untuk masuk ke sekolah kerajaan.
Speaking to the media at an event in Johor Bahru on Sunday, she further said the ministry will beef up its efforts in identifying and helping more children in this category. Teo added the ministry views this matter very seriously in line with the Education Act, which requires pupils to complete schooling until Year 6. Commenting on preschool education, she said private kindergartens are encouraged to register with the respective state education officers to ensure that their curricula are on par with the standards set by the ministry. The ministry will team up with the Malaysian Qualifications Agency, MQA, and other government bodies to equip preschool teachers with the appropriate skill sets. A senior officer with FGV Holdings Berhad, or FGV, was detained by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, for allegedly accepting gratification of 10,000 ringgit. The suspect was remanded for 5 days beginning Sunday to assist in investigations. The senior officer was arrested at a restaurant in Taman Prima Saujana, Tajang, at about 11:30 a.m. on Saturday. The 51-year-old is believed to have received the payment as an inducement to recommend the extension of contract for a company carrying out international certification auditing of palm oil refineries under FGV. The case is being investigated under Section 16A, subsection B of the MACC Act 2009. It carries a maximum jail term of 20 years and a fine of 10,000 ringgit, or 5 times the value of the bribe, whichever is higher upon conviction. In Seremban, former MIC Division Chairman Datuk G.M. Kannan has died after the car he was driving skidded and crashed into a tree in Jalan Rasa Jaya. According to Seremban Police Chief ACP Teo Hock Po, the 79-year-old victim died on the spot with serious head injuries. Fire and Rescue Department Operations Chief Hamlan Ishak said the department received an emergency call at 12:06 p.m. and deployed the fire engine and an emergency response team to the scene. He said 8 firemen were involved in the operation, and it took them about 5 minutes to pull out the victim, who was pinned in his seat. It is believed that Kannan was travelling from Taman Rasa Jaya to Seremban to meet a friend when the accident occurred. In Kuala Lumpur, at least 7 people were injured in an accident involving 2 vehicles at Jalan Raja Laut early Sunday morning. A Kuala Lumpur Fire and Rescue Department spokesman said they received a distress call at 5 a.m. and deployed a fire engine and 5 firemen from the Titiwangsa station. The accident involved a Honda BRV and a Perodua Kalisa, where 3 of the victims were in the BRV while the rest were in the Kalisa. All the victims were rushed to the Kuala Lumpur hospital for treatment. In Sabah, Malaysia Maritime Enforcement Agency MMEA personnel on Sunday found an unidentified man's body believed to be one of the victims from Thursday's boat capsize mishap in the waters of Pulau Nunuyan. According to officials, the body was found near the shores of Kampung BDC in Sandakan at about 9:15 a.m. near where the incident took place. At the moment, search and rescue teams in Sandakan are still looking for the 3 remaining missing victims. In Thursday's incident, a boat with 11 people on board had illegally entered Sabah waters from the Taganak Island area in the Philippines before capsizing. The Health Ministry has confirmed 3 more diphtheria cases in Johor as of Saturday. In a statement on Sunday, Health Director General Datuk Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said the cases involved a 4-year-old boy and girl as well as a 15-year-old girl who all lived in the same house, as the 2-year-old toddler believed to have died from diphtheria on February the 21st. All 3 children were treated for the disease and are in stable condition, and 1 has since been allowed to return home. After the breather, Afghan flash flood leaves scores dead. Stay with us. We move on to the foreign stories. In the United Kingdom, Prime Minister Theresa May will this week set out details of a fund worth hundreds of millions of US dollars for Britain's left-behind towns as part of a government push to win Labour support for her revised Brexit deal. Details of the fund, expected to be worth some $2 billion US, is to be put to the MPs for a meaningful vote before March the 12th. It is understood that the Eurosceptic Conservatives and the Democratic Unionist Party are softening their stance and have said they are prepared to back the deal if legally binding concessions are obtained on the contentious Irish backstop. With less than a month until Britain is due to leave on March the 29th, May has yet to win Parliament's approval for her deal. And meanwhile, Labour finance spokesman John McDonnell said on Sunday that the Labour Party has been forced into backing a second referendum due to Theresa May's floundering Brexit negotiations. McDonnell said Labour still wished to pursue its vision of a deal with the EU, but could not back May's plans or a hard Brexit.
No, we've been straight with people. We've been forced into this situation by Theresa May. Look, for 2 years she's delayed and delayed and delayed and running down the clock.
Despite the opposition party's new stance and McDonnell's earlier comments, Labour lawmaker Carolyn Flint meanwhile said as many as 70 Labour lawmakers will oppose holding a second Brexit referendum. May has promised to bring a revised deal back to Parliament by March the 12th, and if lawmakers reject it, they will be given an opportunity to vote to leave without a deal or to extend the Article 50 negotiating period. In Indian-ruled Kashmir, 2 militants were shot dead on Sunday as security forces continue to flush out militants for the third day in Kupwara district. At least 5 security personnel were also killed in the 3-day gun battle, taking the total death toll to 25 in the past 2 weeks. According to a military spokesman, the gunfight broke out on Friday morning when security forces launched a cordon and search operation in Kupwara's Babagan area following information on the presence of militants. The bodies of both militants were recovered from both sides, and their identities and affiliations are being ascertained. Incriminating materials, including arms and ammunition, were also recovered from the site of encounter. The fresh anti-militancy drive was launched after a Kashmiri suicide bomber, a member of the Pakistan-based militant group, killed 40 Indian paramilitary police on February the 14th. In Afghanistan, at least 20 people have been killed, including several children, as flash flood struck Kandahar province earlier in the week. It is also reported that at least 10 people were still missing when their homes were swept away by the flood waters. According to the United Nations, the flash floods occurred after a total of 97 millimeters of rain hit the region in the last 30 hours. It is anticipated that at about 2,000 homes have been damaged across the region, with 600 of them in the city of Kandahar alone. Around 400 families have been evacuated to secure areas in the districts as water levels continue to rise in some areas. According to Kandahar's Deputy Governor Abdul Hanan Monib, the flooding was the worst in at least 7 years. Kuala Lumpur remain winless in the Super League. Stay tuned. Sports football, the Super League. Malacca United chalked up their third win following a 2-0 victory against Kuala Lumpur on Sunday night. 2 quick goals in the first half were enough to secure 3 maximum points for the hosts. Darko Markovic opened the scoring in the 14th minute with a close-range header, before Mohammad Nazrinawi added the second 2 minutes later with a great solo effort. The result left Malacca in 4th with 10 points, while Kuala Lumpur remained bottom with 0 points. That sports item wraps up Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at flowers in southwest China in full bloom as temperatures start to rise, drawing scores of tourists to welcome the arrival of spring amid beautiful sea of flowers. With that, I'm Brent.